Does anyone have a question? Well, the most important thing is to take in this energy, to really absorb it inside, to let it find a home inside you and develop a chakra system that will connect you to spirit, to God, whatever you want to call that. That's what the class is about. It's really about the Shakti, this energy being transmitted. Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob?
In one of your most recent blog posts, you talk about breathing consciously during the day. And could you elaborate more on that?
Well, people breathe, mostly they breathe right up into their head. And the oxygen, the air, it activates the mind, thinking, and tension, and very rarely do people just stop and take a breath down into the chakra below the navel. When things get really tense for them, yes, they try to do that. They can breathe, breathe. But conscious breathing is something we do in this meditation. Understand the very act of doing this forces us to breathe consciously. And during the day, when you're busy with all different aspects of your life, you stop for a second, take a deep breath inside, just try to relax, you know, and use the breath to relax you inside, to get centered in the hara, to open the heart. And you can do that during the day, if you just, nobody's going to even notice. You just stop and you take a breath inside and just use it to get yourself grounded inside, to get yourself focused in the third chakra. And that's conscious breathing. Everybody needs to do that. There's so much tension in this world. And we are afflicted with tension, everybody. I have tension. And, I guess if I have it, I guess all of you have it as well. It's not something that's, I belong to a private club where there's just tension. Everybody has it. But during the day, you stop for a minute, you breathe, listen to your breathing, drop your arms at your side, and ask to help surrender negative psychic tension. And do these things because they're essential for us getting through the day consciously. You can't do that all day, but periodically you just stop and you use your breath you know, to develop your inner life, to relax yourself, to get centered, to get grounded, to try to get rid of a bunch of the tension inside yourself. That's conscious breathing. And then this meditation is all about conscious breathing. Rudy devised it so that the heart center, the first breath is into the heart center. Now, that breath is not going to open the center unless you have gratitude in your heart. If you have to fill your heart with gratitude, it will open. The breath will strengthen the heart center. It will develop the whole chakra. Same thing with the chakra below the navel. If it's all tense and this and that, the breathing is not going to make it any better. But if you have your mind focused there and you're relaxed there and this chakra is open like a great lotus flower, when you breathe into it, it will strengthen that chakra. It'll build, and develop that chakra which is essential for balance and harmony. That's conscious breathing. This exercise was developed around conscious breathing. And doing it, you get up in the morning, you do it. Maybe before you go to bed, you do it for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And then you have class where the energy is very powerful. And by doing the conscious breathing, you can absorb this Shakti, you can absorb this energy. So there's different ways during the day of using the breath. But for God's sake, if you stop breathing, you're not going to live very long, You got to breathe. So we might as well use the breath as a means of relaxing ourselves, opening ourselves, getting centered inside during the day. And never take it for granted. Understand, if you start assuming anything about breath, about openness, you start getting very actively involved in your head and you build more tension and the system begins to deteriorate inside. So that's what I would suggest, sit down during the day for 10 minutes somewhere. And, just as you breathe in, say to yourself, so, as you exhale, and just do that for 5 or 10 minutes. And the whole sound of your breathing will become so hum. And what does it mean? So means I am when you inhale. Means that, or I am one with everything. And do that 10 minutes. Certainly not going to hurt you. And frankly, you don't have to be self-conscious because nobody really gives a shit, I used to do it on the subways, and I think nobody cares. You just do your life. Nobody really cares. And all of this is about conscious breathing. This whole meditation is about conscious breathing. 4 things, conscious use of the mind, conscious use of the breath, conscious use of your need to have a spiritual life, and conscious use of the will to make it possible to happen. These are 4 things. They're the 4 ingredients. And you don't have to go out shopping to find them. They exist inside every human being. We're born with these 4 ingredients. They're given to us as a sacred gift. And our job is to learn how to use this sacred gift consciously so that it develops one's inner life and a connection with higher energy in the universe. That's our job.
Stuart, what does conscious breathing look like when my body is physically very active, like when I'm in front of my stove and I've got 6 pots on the stove? How does it look like when I'm physically active like that?
How you breathe consciously? Well, look, when you're really physically active, you drop a lot of tension, physical tension. You let go of. I mean, today I went to the gym and I did like 25 minutes of very intense, walking on the treadmill. It was very strong. And when it was over with, yeah, I was tired and I was breathing heavily, but I was taking in the oxygen. I felt really relaxed inside. Felt really good. So in your job, in your work, whatever you do, look, there are 3 things in a spiritual life. The first one is an inner life. You take in energy, you use the energy to develop an inner life. The second one is we live in the world and we have to learn how to use that energy that, let's put it a different way. Tension Everyone has tension. You can transform tension inside yourself into a spiritual life. You can use your tension to develop the chakra system, because tension is just energy that's chaotic in a human being. And mastering the inner self means we master that tension. Then there's the inner and then there's the outer. Use it in the world. Now, people use it with ego, with all kinds of charisma and putting down their imperious nature, putting down other people. That's not what I'm talking about. Use it to build a life for yourself. Attention. Just about everything you see in the world is a product of somebody's tension. Skyscrapers and buildings and all the tension that goes into developing these things. Cars and this, everything, computers, and it's a product of tension. Use consciously to develop something. We all can use our attention consciously to develop something in our lives. Every book I wrote was about conscious use of tension to create something wonderful instead of, that tension backing up and driving me crazy. The third element in this is that, you can absorb so much, you can use so much, and then it's like the digestive system of a human being. You absorb the nutrients, you use and then you've got to let go of the excess and the crap. And then you sit down and you drop tension, ask help to drop, all surface tension, to get rid of the rest of that tension. It's like spiritually going to the toilet, getting rid of the crap, the surface, the garbage that has to be gotten rid of. All of this is just conscious use of the gifts that we are born with. Learning how to breathe, learning how to use the mind, learning how to, use our will and our need to grow, conscious use of the breath, conscious use of the mind, conscious use of, getting rid of tension, using tension in the world so that it doesn't hurt somebody else, but it creates something wonderful in our lives. We transform it in life by using it to create something. And then, more than anything else, using it in ourselves and learning how it's like an alchemical process, transcending all that garbage and chaos into gold, into spirit, into a spiritual life. And that's where the chakra system comes in. Developing the chakra system enables a human being to do what I'm talking about. So when you're physically active, you're using the tension to develop things in your life. When you're doing your meditation, you're using tension and you're using Shakti to build an inner life. And then whatever you can't use, you just have to get rid of, drop it. And all of this is just beneficial for us developing ourselves as human beings. So instead of using the tension to hurt other people, we know how to use it to create a wonderful life. Instead of being more important than everybody else, listen to people. Let them be. Let them teach you something. Everybody has something to teach us. Every human being has something to teach us.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? Okay. Thank you all. God bless you all. As I tell you all the time, every one of you, you are my teacher. You are my guru. I come here to learn. That's the reason I come here, to build a spiritual life in myself. And I find, for me anyway, these classes are essential. I have resistance. Trust me, it's not easy teaching 7 of these classes a week. It really isn't. And I have resistance. And then every time I come here, I break down the resistance and I leave with something remarkable. So it's truly something incredible, you know, that we can come together like this and nurture each other. And that it's not just, I mean, look, used to be people that lived in New York City would come to my class, you know, so people all over the world here. That to me is extraordinary. People in Brazil, people in Europe, people in, you know, in Asia. I mean, it's extraordinary. So God bless you all. Thank you. And there'll be a class tomorrow evening, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. God bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.